Just 1 minute ago, shocking news broke from one of the most unforgettable faces in Moonshiners history, Steven Ray Tickle himself. Known for his wild antics, sharp wit, and legendary moonshine skills, Tickle has always lived life on the edge. But this time, it's not about backwoods brews or outlaw adventures. What he's revealing now is something completely unexpected, and it's sending waves through fans and the Moonshiners community alike. Brace yourself, because Tickle is breaking the news that no one saw coming. Seeing this springhead seems like walking back in time. Amazing, man. Could you almost crawl in? Not many locations on Earth are like this. Steven Ray Tickle, the adored Appalachian bandit, became TV gold. He wiggled out of danger and won millions of fans for years. Tickle seemed to have found redemption as a moonshiner turned businessman and restaurant owner. Fame, riches, and a loving wife stabilized his crazy world. However, his history was ready to attack behind the cameras. He lost his second chance with a startling courtroom punishment. We learn how the man with everything lost everything in one moment today. The irreparable error of Steven Tickle. Everything went wrong for Tickle in the most dramatic way. An regular but terrible vehicle accident cost him his freedom, not a major moonshine bust or high-speed chase. The vehicle accident was traumatic, but the paperwork was key. Tickle was driving with a suspended license when the accident occurred. This may not seem significant. Probably not for most people. Driving with a suspended license is a serious offense. The shoe was tighter for Steven Ray Tickle since this was a huge breach of an ongoing agreement with Virginia. He was already serving a 3-year suspended sentence for a serious rule violation. The ramifications of his 2016 criminal conviction have caught up to him again. According to the agreement, every infraction, no matter how minor, was a free trip to prison. Now, his latest rule infringement, which could have been driving illegally, violated his deferred sentence severely. He assured the court that he would never change his ways and that his lawlessness had not yet ended. Irony for his behavior makes the story more interesting. He's serving nearly a year and a half in prison for more than just the traffic collision. It also covers a 12-gauge sawed-off shotgun found in his pickup years ago. This incident started the fire and caused his fate. Simply put, this wasn't new crime justice. The penalty for a years-old felony was delayed. This showed everyone who knew Tickle that while he could charm his way out of trouble, the rules eventually caught up to him. Steven Ray Tickle's Genesis tale. To understand his fall from grace, you must appreciate his story and all he built. Reducing Steven Ray Tickle to a reality celebrity is unfair. He represents the modern Appalachian folk hero, divided between tradition and modernization. He spent time in the woods and courtroom. His tale begins on November 30, 1976. Born Steven Ray Tickle, he is 48 in 2025. His family roots are in Danville, Virginia, where moonshining was more than a hobby. It was culturally inherited. He learned everything from his older relatives because he was fascinated from an early age. His genes gave him more than skills. Imbibing the craft required learning, experimenting, and hard labor. He painstakingly perfected everything and tried out crude but useful homemade skills. He employed a shotgun condenser, jelly jars for double-thump kegs, and a turkey fryer-powered 10-gallon still. These were ideal, but they defied even as children. His own remarks showed that his fate was sealed early on. "Your blood is affected," he remarked. "I'll moonshine until death." So this was his essential identity. He already relied on the craft, and it was just the start of his life's conflicts. Over time, he gained a reputation. He was known for his love of the dark forests and illegal trades. This existence continued pushing him away from the normalcy he occasionally tried to maintain. Tickle was doomed from the start, but what set him apart from a negative reputation surprised many. Tickle's professional life contrasted with his personal life. Besides manufacturing illegal spirits, he was a talented union carpenter. His actual career suggests he was internally torn. He wanted to contribute to society, but he didn't know how to let go of his world. He was a skilled carpenter. The evidence is in the pudding. Tickle apparently lived in D.C. area for 2 years. He built big commercial buildings like Clyde's restaurant near the Verizon Center downtown as a carpenter. The man he grew up trying to be and the man he became differed greatly. The same man developed rudimentary 10-gallon stills in Gretna, Virginia. He was now the individual who could carefully build large commercial buildings. His respectable and ordered artistry contrasted with his chaotic and absurd craftsmanship, capturing his volatility. He possessed the ability to live legally and earn well, but he was drawn to high and low-profit trades. He was drawn to them, making his failures easier. All those who knew him recognized his potential in his fingers, so watching was frustrating. Tickle kept everyone guessing. His objectives went beyond the forests and building site. As he became recognized, he realized he needed recognition and relevance outside the criminal group and began to pursue political goals. Tickle declared his independent candidacy against U.S. Representative Robert Hurt, 5th District, Virginia. He declared presidential candidacy in 2012. His brief political career revealed he was wired to challenge the system. In a 2013 interview, he called the Affordable Care Act garbage, not his platform. He passionately opposed federal officials opting out of health care, but he believed Americans should have access. Tickle loved high-stakes situations, whether they included defying the system or not, and his political views were as raw and volatile as his other creations. Tickle's reality TV success. Without the Discovery Channel's landmark docudrama Moonshiners, Tickle's life tale would have been limited to his local judicial record and Pittsylvania County's forests. Moonshine liquor manufacture and evading Appalachian distillers' laws were the show's initial emphasis. Since this was his specialty, Tickle was a natural breakout star. He originally assisted moonshiner Tim Smith as a stillman. He won over millions of viewers with his wit, unpredictability, and willingness to get into trouble and misfortunes. Tim's systematic approach was disrupted by him. He was still a rough outlaw, but also a humorous relief for the show and its viewers. He had a hit spin-off series, Tickle, in 2013 due to his popularity. The show followed him as he tried to sell a huge moonshine stockpile he uncovered in the woods. He opened Tickle's Tackle, a Gretna, Virginia fishing store, to transport illegal alcohol. The entire series highlighted his tough shift from backwoods criminal to business manager, showing how difficult business management was compared to illegal still management. Reality TV was making Tickle famous. His stature as a television icon was enhanced by the 12-episode spin-off. Despite being iconic, Tickle continued. After partnering with the commercial alcohol industry, he found legitimacy. Tickle used his fame to join Sugarland's Distilling Company's list of former moonshiners who turned their hidden and lawful recipes into legal and commercial brands. He was well on his way to turning his criminal identity into a lucrative and federally taxable product line with this cooperation, his biggest commercialization move. His achievement brought him financial stability and mainstream recognition. However, power comes with responsibility, which cost him dearly. A clean public image and strict law enforcement were his obligations. This seems like a simple need, but for a rebellious guy, this went against all he knew about himself. This collaboration illuminated his life and others. It made his legal issues national news, making every personal failure a professional calamity. Tickle's latest demise. The recent arrest is not an isolated instance. It combines decades-old patterns. Self-sabotage and legal issues overshadow his yearning for legitimacy. Tickle's fall made headlines. They were always public, theatrical, and linked to his chaotic lifestyle, which the show highlighted. Looking back at his criminal history, one of his first and worst mistakes was in March 2013. Public drunkenness got Tickle arrested in Danville, Virginia. Police went to a Charlie's Stop and Shop parking lot drinking mail. Tickle, 35, was found with an open container and a strong alcohol scent when authorities arrived. He was released from the Danville City Jail later that day, but the episode humiliated him. The press jumped on the irony of a star known for making illegal liquor being jailed for public drinking. This suggested to the public and courts that the hard-working still hand was grappling with the implications of his art, and people began to doubt his reliability and commitment to lawfulness. In 2015, Tickle's arrest cemented his fate and set the stage for his last sentencing. Pennsylvania police found an illegal handgun during a headlight stop. Tickle's truck's front seat held a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun. According to reports, the 14-inch barrel was seen. The Commonwealth makes it a criminal to possess a short-barreled shotgun without a National Firearms Act registration. He was found guilty of felony on February 1, 2016. On March 24, 2016, the judge sentenced Tickle to 3 years in suspended penitentiary, which changed his life. He may avoid prison time if he didn't break the law during his suspended sentence. He kept the 3-year sentence in mind and would start again with each little violation. His independence was precious, and he knew. Unfortunately, on September 15, 2016, he was detained again for a probation violation linked to this criminal conviction. The judge had to rescind his suspension and imprison him for 5 months. His first prison sentence was a painful lesson, but the Discovery Channel used it as entertainment. We saw his co-stars pick him up following his release. Although he was released from incarceration, he still owed the unserved portion of the 3-year suspended sentence. The sadness of Tickle's last demise is heightened by his redemption arc, which he developed before his imprisonment. He had found love and stability, which appeared to keep him grounded and away from outlawry. One moment of breaking news halted his past-present dialogue. The current court ruling erased his carefully crafted redemption. The car accident Steven Ray Tickle had while driving with a suspended license caused this descent. Without his shady past, Tickle would have been fined and suspended for a short time. However, the judge believed Tickle had violated the 3-year suspended sentence due to his background. The judge's stern and final verdict was that Tickle had broken the law. The probation requirements for Tickle's 2016 felony convictions were violated by his unauthorized driving. The court saw his public intoxication, illegal firearm, probation violation, and now driving without a license. The reality star had exhausted his courtroom possibilities, but one decision sealed his doom. Justice confirmed the tragic news in the headlines with the final sentence. Tickle was imprisoned to serve his remaining 18 months on probation. The sawed-off shotgun found nearly a decade ago caused all of this. Tickle's life was halted when it bit him again. 18 months was fine. Everything was placed on hold, from his marriage to his work. The timing was especially bad because Tickle's past returned just as he found personal and professional fulfillment. He realized that no matter how much fame or prosperity he had, he would always be an outlaw in the eyes of the police following the headlines. Tickle's headlines were life-changing, but he's recovered. Moonshiners will return in 2025 for Season 14. The Discovery Channel will run fresh episodes until October 2025. Tickle's dramatic moments, such as when his bootleg is caught or when he saves a run, are now available to viewers. Social media and entertainment news outlets were abuzz about Tickle's punishment, showing how upset the public was in the headlines. Fan response was phenomenal. It demonstrated that they all saw him as a criminal and a public figure due to his temperament. Fans sympathized and were angered by his seeming inability to capitalize on his accomplishment and maintain his freedom. One comment stood out across other forums and precisely expressed universal sentiment. It said, "I want him to succeed and hit a home run once. He can't catch a break." His frequent legal difficulties were seen as self-sabotage by fans, not criminality. His outlaw blood made him an American folk anti-hero from a young age. His public alcohol charges and firearm misjudgment angered many admirers. Despite all, his admirers love him and his on-screen presence. Although he deserved it, they saw the 18-month sentence as life's brutal hand. The Discovery Channel, which made Tickle famous, has featured his legal issues in Moonshiners' stories. His legal troubles underscore the show's thesis that these men live outside the law, according to the network. The truth is that Tickle's troubles were exploited. The network even aired special episodes about his life. Tale of Tickle showed his co-stars Tim and JT bringing him out for his first lunch as a free man after his captivity. In one season, the Moonshiners played a game to learn about jail from Tickle, normalizing his experience to viewers. This dynamic sealed Tickle's doom and highlighted reality TV's honesty. Tickle's imprisonment didn't affect the show's performance. It ensured a plot. The cycle of a falling and redemption arc added actual conflict to ratings and made criminal life more interesting. The network won because they could include his personal problem into the programming cycle, turning his legal failure into a marketing success story. Crime-free life. Recent Tickle news are tragic because of his redemption. He had developed a thriving life before his imprisonment. He found love and stability, which grounded him and gave him hope that he could break his self-destructive streak. Tickle married his longtime girlfriend Carol Ann in a 2019 moonshine-themed ceremony. Realtor and bail bondswoman Carol Ann. She had occupations based in legal and economic stability, unlike Tickle, who had always lacked it. Their relationship is paradoxical. Tickle, an outlaw, discovered love and commitment with an indirect legal representative and helped people get out of jail. Tickle joked that Carol pursued him for 6 years before he went out with her. Despite the upheaval, Carol Ann persisted and saw the man who could be a stable and loving husband. Their coupling symbolized all they represented individually and later as a pair. In 2022, almost 2 years into their marriage, the happy couple gave an emotional interview to the Discovery Channel about their life together and how wonderfully Carol had influenced Tickle. Tickle said Carol completes him when asked about his favorite part of being Carol's spouse. He said, "I struggled for years, could never find my way. I went to and from jail. I couldn't act properly. She inspires me to behave. Why I stand up and am the man I am today." Carol Ann joked that her favorite part of being together was when he went to work when asked the same question. However, she swiftly declared, "He is my favorite part." Her favorite part of being his wife was traveling and sharing adventures that replaced his lonesome life in the countryside. They also had a strange date night habit. They would pick each other's outlandish outfits and wear them to the same restaurant, whose staff loved seeing their silly looks. Tickle's repentance was strengthened by his commitment to his genuine business. He also worked as a carpenter and owned Tickle's Heartline restaurant with Carol, which solidified his desire to stay out of trouble. In the show, the commune revolved around the restaurant. It demonstrated his abilities to run a lawful business and provide good cuisine and Sugarland distillery spirits. Carol Ann supported him throughout his legal challenges. She managed the mess he left behind and gave him order and stability. She had to run the restaurant, manage his finances, and keep Sugarland's brand, which relied on celebrity visits and tours, alive for almost a year. His problems caused separation and professional hardship, but it was the ultimate test of their partnership. The Discovery Channel is broadcasting Moonshiner Season 14 in 2025, suggesting the issues occurred during production or between seasons. Since reality shows frequently use pre-taped footage, Tickle's appearance in current episodes may be taped before his final court hearing. The channel doesn't punish him for his mistakes. Instead, they use it to increase show viewership. Finally, Steven Ray Tickle's headlines are more than news. They reflect a deeper American sorrow. His biography follows the rise and fall of an Appalachian mountain folk hero known for insurrection, bravery, and rustic defiance. Tickle is more than a TV personality. He personifies a culture that values self-reliance, hard labor, and system-busting. He was the face of a proud Appalachian legacy, producing moonshine with the same skill and secrecy as his ancestors, and converting an outlaw's art into entertainment. Behind the laughing, glory, and moonshine stills, men have always fought their shadows. His essence is paradox. Steven Ray Tickle is a skilled union carpenter who builds homes and honest enterprises. He has a quick mind for business, a strong work ethic, and the ability to charm anyone. However, he has long straddled legality, falling into the same pitfalls that made him famous. Though adored on television, his love of freedom and rebellion often led to recklessness, which became a personal conflict. His legal troubles became patterns, drawing him deeper into a cycle that fame and hard labor could not break. Steven Ray Tickle makes headlines, but one mistake can lead to a lifetime of regrets. His experience shows how hard it is to escape one's reputation and prior choices. He found periods of serenity in a bail bondsman's hands, momentary sobriety, or honest job done with pride amidst the pandemonium. Even stability was short-lived. His once-forgotten transgression was revealed, destroying everything he had built. His penalty was symbolic, a cruel warning that outlaws don't just flee the law. He escapes from himself, from the tranquility he seeks, the freedom he once took for granted, and the plain goodness of a proper existence. Humanity makes Tickle's narrative relatable. The conflict between who we are and who we want to be. It explores how a man may be hero, cautionary tale, builder, and destroyer. Finally, his demise is about the common battle to outrun one's past, not crime or consequence. The battle for redemption is still ongoing for Steven Ray Tickle, and perhaps one day the mountains that made him renowned may resonate with a man finally finding peace. Tickle headlines are heartbreaking. One error can cost you. Are the consequences of his deed enough to turn him off becoming an outlaw? Or will the Appalachian backwoods defiance haunt him forever? Steven Ray Tickle's fate is unknown,